Video 21, Part 4B of 25, Inputs to the Collect Requirements Process. The purpose of this video is to develop a WBS to present the inputs to the Collect Requirements process. The Collect Requirements process is the second process in the Project Scope Management knowledge area and is related to the Planning Process group. Please click the like button. Subscribe to my channel and share with others. Thank you. The first input to the Collect Requirements process is the project charter analysis. How important is the input project charter in the Collect Requirements process? The project charter is critically important in the Collect Requirements process because it serves as the foundational document that guides and shapes all subsequent requirement gathering activities. Here's why it's indispensable. 1. Provides high-level direction for requirements. The project charter defines the project's purpose, objectives, and success criteria, ensuring that requirements align with business goals. As an example, if the charter states the project must increase customer satisfaction by 20%, requirements must focus on features that directly impact user experience. 2. Identifies key stakeholders for requirement elicitation. The project charter lists sponsors, customers, and high-level stakeholders who must be consulted during requirement collection. Without it, the team might miss critical voices, leading to incomplete or misaligned requirements. 3. Sets boundaries to prevent scope creep. The project charter outlines high-level scope and constraints, such as budget, timeline, and regulatory needs, helping filter out unrealistic or out-of-scope requirements. As an example, if the project charter specifies a fixed budget, requirements must be prioritized within that limit. 4. Authorizes the project, giving legitimacy to requirements gathering. Since the project charter officially approves the project, it ensures that the time and effort spent collecting requirements are justified and aligned with organizational strategy. 5. Documents assumptions and risks that influence requirements. If the project charter assumes users will adopt the new system quickly, requirements may focus on intuitive design. Conversely, if a risk is strict compliance laws, requirements must include audit trails. What happens if the charter is weak or missing? First, you may have unclear objectives. In this case, requirements may be vague or misaligned with business needs. Second, you may have stakeholder omissions. In this case, critical needs may be missed, such as regulatory requirements. Third, you may have scope creep. In this case, teams may waste time on non-essential features. In conclusion, the project charter is not just a formality. It's the North Star for requirement collection. Without it, teams risk gathering irrelevant, conflicting, or incomplete requirements, jeopardizing project success. The second input to the Collect Requirements process is the Project Management Plan. Now one question arises. How important is the input of Project Management Plan to the Collect Requirements process? The Project Management Plan is a critical input to the Collect Requirements process because it provides the foundational framework and guidelines for how requirements will be gathered, analyzed, and managed throughout the project. Here we have some key contributions of the Project Management Plan to the Collect Requirements process. 1. Scope Management Plan. It defines how scope will be defined, developed, monitored, and controlled. It also guides how requirements will be collected, documented, and validated. 2. Requirements Management Plan. It specifies how requirements activities will be planned, tracked, and reported. It outlines techniques for elicitation, such as interviews, workshops, and surveys. and also prioritization methods and traceability approaches. 3. Stakeholder Engagement Plan. It identifies key stakeholders and their influence interests, helping tailor requirement gathering techniques. It also ensures the right stakeholders are involved in requirements elicitation. 4. Communication Management Plan. It determines how requirements-related information will be shared, such as meetings and documentation. It also ensures clear and consistent communication during requirements collection. 5. Project Lifecycle and Development Approach. It influences how requirements are gathered, such as iterative for agile versus upfront for waterfall. It also determines whether requirements will evolve over time or be fixed early. Impact of incomplete or missing information in the project management plan. First, you will have unclear or inconsistent requirements. A poor analysis can overlook key stakeholders, leading to missing or imprecise requirements. Without a structured plan, critical business needs can be overlooked, resulting in a product that does not meet expectations. Second, you will have stakeholder misalignment due to low engagement. A poor analysis fails to properly engage stakeholders, leading to miscommunication and conflicting priorities. Without a clear project scope, stakeholders may assume different outcomes, causing disputes later. Third, you will have scope creep due to poorly managed requirements. A poor project management plan lacks change control processes, allowing uncontrolled additions to requirements. This leads to budget overruns, delays, and a final product that deviates from the original objectives. Fourth, insufficient identification of risks and dependencies. Insufficient analysis may fail to identify dependencies between requirements, leading to unrealistic timelines. Unidentified risks, such as regulatory constraints and technical limitations, may derail the project later. Fifth, inefficient resource allocation. Without proper planning, resources such as time, budget, and personnel may be wasted on low-priority requirements. Critical tasks may be underfunded, delaying the project. Sixth, poor documentation and traceability. Poorly analyzed plans often lack structured documentation, making it difficult to trace requirements. This leads to misinterpretation by developers, testers, and end users. Seventh, poor quality deliverables. Rushed or poorly managed requirements gathering may result in a product that does not meet usability, compliance, or performance standards. Testing may reveal major gaps, requiring costly rework. Eighth, reduced stakeholder trust and engagement. Repeated failures due to inadequate requirements analysis erode stakeholder trust. Future collaboration becomes difficult, compromising the long-term success of the project. In conclusion, the project management plan is essential to the collect requirements process because it ensures requirements are gathered systematically, aligned with stakeholder needs, and integrated into the project's overall strategy. Without it, the project risks incomplete, ambiguous, or conflicting requirements, leading to delays, rework, or failure. The third input to the collect requirements process is the project documents info. The input of project documents to the collect requirements process is very important because they provide essential information that helps define and clarify project requirements. Here are the key project documents used in collect requirements process. 1. Stakeholder Register. It identifies stakeholders who can provide requirements, ensuring their needs and expectations are captured. 2. Assumption Log. It contains assumptions that may influence requirements, helping to validate or challenge them early. 3. Lessons learned register. It provides insights from past projects that can shape how requirements are gathered and managed. 4. Business case. It outlines high-level objectives, ensuring requirements align with business needs. 5. Agreements, contracts. It may include specific deliverables or conditions that translate into project requirements. Why it matters. First, project documents ensures completeness by leveraging existing project knowledge. Second, project documents reduces risks by validating assumptions and historical lessons. Third, project documents improves stakeholder alignment by referencing prior documentation. Without these inputs, the collect requirements process could miss critical details, leading to scope gaps, rework, or stakeholder dissatisfaction. How can poor project documents analysis harm the requirements gathering process? Poor project document analysis can significantly harm the requirements gathering process in several ways, leading to misaligned expectations, project delays, and even failure. Here we have how a poor project documents analysis harm the collect requirements process. 1. Incomplete or inaccurate requirements. If existing project documents, such as business cases, legacy system docs, and stakeholder notes, are poorly analyzed, critical requirements may be missed or misinterpreted. This can lead to gaps in functionality, forcing costly rework later. 2. Miscommunication between stakeholders. Weak analysis can result in ambiguous or conflicting requirements due to unclear documentation. Stakeholders may have different interpretations, leading to disagreements and scope creep. 3. Overlooking regulatory or compliance needs. If project documents, such as legal, security, or industry standards, are not thoroughly reviewed, compliance requirements may be ignored, risking legal penalties or security vulnerabilities. 4. Wasted time and resources. Poor analysis means revisiting requirements repeatedly, causing delays and increased costs. Developers may build features based on incorrect assumptions, leading to wasted effort. 5. Failure to identify dependencies. Inadequate document review can miss integration needs with other systems or processes, causing technical roadblocks later. 6. Poor stakeholder buy-in. If business needs are not accurately captured from documents, stakeholders may lose trust in the project, leading to lack of support or funding withdrawal. 7. Increased risk of project failure. Ultimately, weak document analysis increases the risk of delivering a product that doesn't meet business needs, resulting in project failure or low user adoption. In conclusion, project documents serve as foundational references, making them highly important to the collect requirements process. Proper utilization ensures accurate, aligned, and well-documented requirements. The fourth input to the collect requirements process is the business documents info. Now one question arises: how important is the input of business documents to the collect requirements process? Here are the key contributions of business documents to collect requirements. 1. Business case. It provides justification for the project, including high-level needs and expected benefits. It also helps ensure requirements align with strategic objectives and avoid scope creep. 2. Benefits management plan. It defines the expected outcomes and success criteria, guiding requirement prioritization. 3. Project Charter. It contains high-level project objectives and stakeholder expectations, serving as a foundation for detailed requirements. 4. Enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. Industry standards, regulations, and historical data from business documents influence requirement collection. How can poor business documents analysis harm the requirements gathering process? Poor business document analysis can significantly harm the requirements gathering process in several ways, leading to project failures, wasted resources, and unsatisfied stakeholders. Here we have the reasons why the collect requirements process can be harmed. 1. Incomplete or inaccurate requirements. If key business documents, such as process flows, policies, and contracts, are not thoroughly analyzed, critical requirements may be missed or misunderstood. Outdated or incorrect documents can lead to flawed assumptions, resulting in a system that doesn't meet actual business needs. 2. Misalignment with business goals. Poor analysis may fail to connect documented processes with strategic objectives, leading to requirements that don't support the organization's long-term vision. Stakeholders may have conflicting interpretations of documents, causing misaligned expectations. 3. Increased rework and costs. Missing or misinterpreting requirements early on leads to costly changes later in development, such as during testing or implementation. Poor documentation analysis can extend the requirements phase, delaying the entire project. 4. Stakeholder dissatisfaction. If business documents aren't properly scrutinized, end users may find the final product doesn't match their workflows, leading to low adoption rates. Key stakeholders may lose trust in the project team if gaps are discovered late. 5. Scope creep or poorly defined scope. Inadequate analysis can result in vague or overly broad requirements, making it difficult to set project boundaries. Unclear documentation may lead to unnecessary features or overlooked regulatory compliance needs. 6. Communication breakdowns. If analysts don't fully understand business documents, they may fail to ask the right questions during stakeholder interviews, leading to ambiguous requirements. Development teams might receive poorly translated requirements, increasing the risk of errors. 7. Compliance and legal risks. Ignoring critical details in contracts, industry regulations, or governance documents can result in non-compliant solutions, exposing the organization to legal or financial penalties. In conclusion, business documents are critical inputs because they ensure requirements support the organization's strategic objectives, increasing project success. Without them, requirements may be misaligned, leading to wasted effort or project failure. Neglecting it can lead to systemic failures, while rigorous analysis ensures clarity, alignment, and project success. The fifth input to the collect requirements process is the agreements info. Now one question arises. How important is the input of agreements to the collect requirements process? Agreements are a direct input to collect requirements process because they provide foundational constraints and conditions that shape requirements. Here are the key contributions of agreements to collect requirements. 1. Define scope and constraints. Agreements, such as contracts, service-level agreements, or memoranda of understanding, often outline key deliverables, expectations, and constraints that directly influence project requirements. 2. Legal and compliance obligations. They may include regulatory, quality, or performance standards that must be reflected in the project requirements. 3. Stakeholder alignment. Agreements formalize commitments between parties, such as clients and vendors, ensuring requirements align with negotiated terms. 4. Basis for traceability. Requirements collected must be traceable back to agreements to avoid scope creep or disputes later. How can poor agreements analysis harm the requirements gathering process? Poor agreements analysis during the collect requirements process can lead to significant problems, including misunderstandings, project delays, and even failure. Here we have the reasons why the collect requirements process can be harmed. 1. Misaligned expectations. If agreements, such as contracts, stakeholder commitments, or verbal understandings, are not properly analyzed, key requirements may be misinterpreted or overlooked. Stakeholders may assume certain features or deliverables are included when they are not, leading to disputes later. 2. Incomplete or inaccurate requirements. Poor analysis of prior agreements, such as SLAs, compliance documents, or business contracts, can result in missing critical constraints or obligations. Legal or regulatory requirements may be ignored, leading to non-compliance risks. 3. Scope creep and uncontrolled changes. Without clear agreement analysis, new demands may be introduced without proper evaluation, expanding the project scope uncontrollably. This leads to budget overruns and missed deadlines. 4. Stakeholder conflicts and loss of trust. If agreements are not reviewed carefully, different stakeholders may have conflicting interpretations of what was promised. This erodes trust and can cause delays as teams renegotiate terms. 5. Wasted effort and rework. If requirements are based on poorly analyzed agreements, developers may build the wrong features, leading to costly rework. Testing and validation may fail if the system does not meet the actual agreed-upon needs. 6. Legal and financial risks. Failure to analyze contractual obligations, such as penalties for missed deadlines or unmet performance criteria, can expose the organization to lawsuits or financial losses. In conclusion, by improving agreements analysis, teams can ensure requirements are accurate, feasible, and aligned with business and legal expectations. The agreements analysis avoids misalignment. Without referencing agreements, requirements might deviate from contractual obligations, leading to rework or conflicts. Agreements are critical to ensuring requirements are valid, enforceable, and aligned with stakeholder expectations. Ignoring them risks scope, legal, or performance issues. The sixth input to the collect requirements process is the Enterprise Environmental Factors info. Now one question arises. How important is the input of enterprise environmental factors to the collect requirements process? Here are the key reasons enterprise environmental factors influence collect requirements. 1. Regulatory and legal constraints. Enterprise environmental factors include laws, industry standards, and compliance requirements that shape project requirements, such as data privacy laws like GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, and safety regulations. 2. Organizational culture and structure. The way stakeholders communicate, decision-making hierarchies, and corporate policies affect how requirements are gathered and prioritized. 3. Market conditions and competition. External factors like customer expectations, competitor products, and economic trends influence what stakeholders demand from the project. 4. Existing infrastructure and tools, available technology, software, and systems may limit or enable certain requirements, such as compatibility with legacy systems. 5. Stakeholder expertise and availability. The knowledge and accessibility of stakeholders, internal or external, impact how effectively requirements can be collected. How can poor enterprise environmental factors analysis harm the requirements gathering process? Poor analysis of enterprise environmental factors can significantly harm the requirements gathering process, leading to project failures, delays, or costly rework. Here we can see how a poor analysis of enterprise environmental factors can significantly harm the collect requirements process. 1. Unrealistic or unattainable requirements. Ignoring budget constraints can lead stakeholders to demand high-end features that the project cannot afford, causing scope creep or cutbacks later. As a result, requirements become unworkable, leading to frustration and wasted effort. 2. Non-compliance with regulations. Failure to comply with data privacy laws such as GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, and HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, can result in requirements gathering that violate legal standards, resulting in legal penalties, forced redesigns, or project cancellations. 3. Misalignment with organizational culture. If a company is resistant to remote work, but the requirements assume distributed teams, adoption may fail. As a result, there will be resistance from users or leadership, leading to low engagement. 4. Ignored stakeholder constraints. Failure to consider time zone differences can lead to unrealistic expectations regarding stakeholder availability for workshops. As a result, requirements may be incomplete or biased due to lack of information. 5. Technology mismatch. Assuming that cloud-based solutions are viable without checking IT policies can lead to requirements being rejected, resulting in last-minute changes, delays, or additional costs to meet infrastructure constraints. 6. Market assessment errors. Ignoring competing products can result in requirements that make the product obsolete or uncompetitive. Consequently, there is a poor product-market fit, leading to low adoption or lost revenue. 7. Poor risk management. Failure to analyze economic conditions can lead to unrealistic cost or schedule expectations, resulting in budget overruns or project shutdowns due to funding gaps. In conclusion, enterprise environmental factors are critical inputs because they provide the context in which requirements must be developed. Enterprise environmental factors help define what is feasible and what constraints must be considered when gathering requirements. They ensure requirements align with real-world conditions, such as budget limitations and resource availability. Project managers must analyze enterprise environmental factors early to ensure requirements are practical, compliant, and aligned with organizational and external realities. Ignoring enterprise environmental factors can lead to unrealistic requirements, compliance risks, or stakeholder dissatisfaction. The seventh input to the collect requirements process is the organizational process assets info. Now one question arises. How important is the input of organizational process assets to the collect requirements process? Here's why the key contributions of organizational process assets is very important to the collect requirements process. 1. Historical data and lessons learned. Past project documentation, including requirements templates, stakeholder analysis, and lessons learned, helps avoid past mistakes and streamline requirement gathering. 2. Templates and standardized processes. Organizational process assets often include requirement documentation templates, forms, and workflows, ensuring consistency and efficiency in collecting requirements. 3. Policies and procedures. Organizational policies, such as compliance and regulatory standards, guide how requirements should be gathered, documented, and approved. 4. Stakeholder registers and communication plans. Previous stakeholder registers or communication strategies help identify key stakeholders early, ensuring their needs are captured effectively. 5. Repository of past requirements. Access to prior project requirements can provide insights, benchmarks, and reusable components, speeding up the process. How can poor organizational process assets analysis harm the requirements gathering process? Poor analysis of organizational process assets can significantly harm the requirements gathering process, leading to project delays, misalignment with stakeholder needs, and even failure. Here's how a poor organizational process assets analysis can harm the collect requirements process. 1. Incomplete or inaccurate requirements. Ignoring past project documents, such as lessons learned and old requirements, may result in repeating mistakes or overlooking critical needs. Lack of templates and standards is another problem. Without standardized forms or guidelines, requirements may be inconsistently documented, leading to gaps or ambiguities. 2. Stakeholder misalignment and communication gaps. Overlooking key stakeholders is also a problem. Poor use of past stakeholder registers or communication plans may cause some voices to be ignored, resulting in unmet expectations. Inefficient elicitation techniques are other issue. If previous effective techniques, such as workshops and surveys, aren't leveraged, the team may use ineffective methods, wasting time. 3. Compliance and regulatory risks. Ignoring organizational policies is also an issue. Failing to apply compliance or security standards embedded in organizational process assets can lead to legal and regulatory violations. Without referencing past approved processes, teams may create non-compliant requirements from scratch. 4. Project delays and increased costs. Unstructured processes are another problem. Lack of predefined workflows, such as approval chains and requirement categorization, slows down validation and sign-offs. Poor traceability of past scope changes may lead to scope creep and uncontrolled additions, increasing costs and timelines. 5. Poor risk management. If previous risk logs, such as ambiguous requirements causing disputes, aren't reviewed, similar risks may resurface. Without historical data, benchmarking realistic requirements becomes harder, leading to unrealistic expectations. In conclusion, poor organizational process assets analysis undermines the quality, efficiency, and reliability of requirements gathering. Proactively leveraging organizational process assets helps avoid preventable errors and aligns the project with proven best practices. Organizational process assets significantly enhance the efficiency, accuracy, and completeness of the collect requirements process by providing proven tools, historical insights, and structured approaches. Project managers should always review relevant organizational process assets to ensure best practices are followed. Finishing this video, we will have in the next videos. 1. Creation of WBS for different projects using WBS Schedule Pro. 2. Examples of project plans using MS Project. And many other videos. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video and want us to continue with new topics. Subscribe to the channel. All content is free. You can also comment suggesting topics you would like to see on this channel. Thank you.